Good evening and welcome to the December 1st. Can y'all believe it's already December? It feels like it outside though, so that's good. Our December 1st City Council meeting here in the great city of Fate. It is now 6 o'clock, so we'll get started. Madam Secretary, do we have a quorum?
Yes, sir, we sure do.
All right, thank you. What's our first item on the agenda then, please?
Item number 2 is invocation given by Greg Bradford with Lake Point Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the American and Texas flags.
Let's pray together.
Welcome.
Father, we are grateful for today. God, we're especially grateful for the privilege of living in such a great city. We're thankful for our leaders here today, our first responders, those that serve and care for our community so well. God, I just pray your blessing on them. We pray your blessing on our conversations tonight. God, will you guide our discussions today? Give us patience in discussion. Father, will you give us guidance of the decisions that we make, that they may be decisions that not only serve our community well today, but for generations to come. God, we are grateful again for who you are and for the privilege of living in such an amazing place. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, what's our next item, please?
Agenda item 3A, Government Finance Officers Association, also known as GFOA, Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting.
So yes, this is an exciting award, the GFOA, Excellence in Financial Reporting. To give an idea, this certificate is the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting. So it's kind of like if you want to, the go for the top, this is the top. And its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by a government and its management. So congratulations. Please join me in congratulating Raju and the finance team. Raju, come on down. We want to take a picture of you with your award.
Yes, we'll have you join as well. Well, you'll stand right back there, please. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next item, please.
Next is agenda item 3B, which is Public Communications Update.
Good evening. I am Shelby Stouffer. I'm the Public Engagement Coordinator, and I am happy to be here this evening to give you guys just kind of a overview of our communications and our public engagement that we've done over the last year. So I'm stepping back a little bit with this update. In the past, I've done like kind of more of a quarterly update. This one's a little bit more looking at the year 2025 as a whole, so kind of more January to end of November. So just some things that we've done this past year is we've launched a newly designed and enhanced website. We've launched podium texting service, and we re-automated our phone tree. We added a couple of new community-wide beautification projects and events. We've completed multiple road and improvement projects throughout the community. We have welcomed to our community some new public safety equipment and apparatus. We have updated our utility billing processes for renters and modified our online payments. We've enhanced our customer service both on the utility billing side, the public works side, and our community services side. And we have gone through and enhanced our social media and communication strategies. I kind of present these. I know some of these touch on different departments and work groups, but in my role, my job is to communicate what we're doing as a city out to the public. And so in a roundabout way, I've also been involved in all of these and just kind of sharing that information with our community. Starting off with our website, again, this is starting January 1st of this year, going to kind of yesterday. These are, the image here is our total users, views, and our general device category. If you look to the left of the screen, I would like to point out these numbers are going to be year over year. So these numbers are the total from 2024 to this year. So this year we had a 6.58% increase in users to our website. Our page views increased by 11.23% or 45,000 views. The average time decreased slightly on our website, and then the desktop and mobile device usage adjusted slightly there. Again, for both years, the top pages were our homepage, our utilities and water, and our payment portal. Just a very brief kind of overview of our website matrix. Our last meeting, we heard from our NCS survey results. I just wanted to kind of touch on those again, that 80% of our residents positively rated the overall appearance of our website. You can see all of the metrics here. We did go over them last week, but I just wanted to highlight the usefulness and the information and overall. We're ranked very, very high for our website. And so I appreciate all the work that staff did in updating their pages, going through their information and getting that all updated and ready to roll out, as well as the team that we worked with at Civic Plus for kind of making sure that our website was user-friendly, ADA accessible and compliant, and just a whole new look and feel for our community. Social media metrics, I pulled the year's metrics, and you can see we've had, earlier in the year, we had a really high spike in some of our posts, and those were either new business announcements coming to town or business openings that started kind of in that first part of the year. However, overall this year, we have had a 21, almost 22% increase in Facebook followers on the city's page, at just under 3,000 new followers. And then you can see too, under visits, which is the bottom left corner, there was a spike in September, and that was due to people visiting our Facebook page for the Celebrate Fate event. Social media metrics for DPS, again, kind of in that first calendar quarter, we saw an increase with a couple of different crime prevention and safe community posts, as well as some recaps of calls that we had. And this page, the bottom right, shows an increase of about 33, almost 34% of new followers over the year. A new page that we launched this year, which is ran through the Economic Development Department, is our Downtown Fate page. This page was established late April, early May, and it primarily hosts all of the events that are going on downtown. It focuses on downtown businesses, downtown events, and downtown news kind of going on business related. In these 6-7 short months it's been up, they have almost 700 followers to the page. So very good for Yvonne and Matt's team. I have oversight of this page, but they're the ones that run the day-to-day content, so they are doing fabulous with that. Our Hey Fate video series we launched earlier this summer is still trending well. A couple of things that we're noting with it is, depending on the topic or the information put out, some of the views may still be high, but our engagement is a little low, so we're still kind of working that out and figuring out what the best content to go in the video series is. One thing we're noting too is video production. So from conception, shooting, editing, and producing and posting takes significantly longer than a static post would. So we just want to reconcile the time that we're spending on those with the engagement and conversions from clicks to information and things like that, not just static views. So we're still working through that, but we're learning as we go. Our Focus on Fate newsletter, this is still trending very, very strong. The next slide, we'll talk about it a little bit more. Our average open rate for the city's newsletter is still 65%, with our average click-through rate of 2%. This may seem a little bit low, but the last few newsletters have had fewer click-throughs, where we've put more of the information in the body of the newsletter. So folks are reading it or capturing that information in newsletter versus having to click off to a separate or different link. So just why it's a little low, but nothing to be concerned about. Additionally, with this, we talked about the NCS survey results of the newsletter being one of the top ways that our residents are now receiving information. So again, not going to rehash these numbers that we just went over, but usefulness of information, appearance, design, and readability, and frequency of publication all scored upper 70s to 80% as either good or excellent from our residents. Podium Text Solutions, we rolled this new service to our residents out at the beginning of the year. We primarily still are getting our text or our notices coming through via our web chat on our website. Second to that is straight text messaging. You can text our main line phone number with your cell phone, and either our AI agent or our staff will respond to those messages directly as they come in. And then we do still receive a few through Facebook. Same process. We receive those and respond to them in a fairly timely manner. One thing to note, partially in part to our AI chatbot, Jerry, who is our best friend, but also to our amazing customer service staff, is in January when we started, our average response time was about 24 minutes. Currently, it's averaging about 4 minutes a response. So texts are coming in. If Jerry can't handle it with a basic AI response, then it rolls to our staff, and then we're responding to those pretty quickly. Customer service phone calls. This graph doesn't tell you a lot, so I'm going to talk about it very briefly. But what this tells us is through our website, through our social media, through our newsletters, and through our text services, all these things that we're doing to better enhance our customer experience, we're noticing that our phone calls to the city are going down significantly from 2024 to 2025. We can kind of infer that this is due to us being able to, or to our customers being able to readily find information through one of those portals that we just discussed, or moving to the text service or chat service that we offer now. Just like all of you, I mean, how many of you would like to sit on hold or sit on the phone waiting on somebody versus just pop off a text and then get that back? So we're noticing from ease of convenience and customer service that that's a benefit. So even though that number is going down, we're looking at it as a benefit that folks are either getting information or communicating with us in a different manner. On the horizon, just a couple things here. So starting in 2026, we're excited to announce our Fate Citizens Academy. This will start promotion and stuff come January 2026, and will start in the spring. This is a great opportunity for community members to kind of get more invested in the day-to-day operations and local government that the City of Fate has, and just get more in-depth, behind-the-scenes information, and it kind of gears and is tailored towards those that might be interested in serving the City of Fate, whether that's a board and commission, whether that's on city council, what have you. This is not a requirement for any of those positions to be held, but it is something that we encourage and are excited to offer our residents. Last thing, this Friday, save the date, is the Fate Christmas tree lighting right here at City Hall. It begins at 6 p.m. We have live music, fun activities, all kinds of food trucks, market vendors, things like that for the family. You also have your holiday ornaments at your place, so you already have those. And then Saturday morning, if you didn't get enough Christmas, come on back to downtown for Christmas on the Farm. That is hosted by our economic development team, and they're doing a fabulous Christmas event in downtown Fate at Fate Station Park. That is my recap for you all. Do you have any questions?
Council, questions? I think we're good. That was a good presentation.
Awesome.
Thank you, Shelby.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Vicky, next item, please.
Next will be Agenda Item 4, which is public comment, and I've received 4 requests to address the council. The first being Andre L. Jackson, address 403 High Edge Drive, wishes to speak on an item not on the agenda regarding firing of DPS chief.
Welcome.
First of all, good evening, everyone on the panel. So I came to talk about the firing of our chief, or our de facto chief right now, who's sitting out. Because as I'm looking at it, I saw the different posts on Facebook, saw it on the news, saw it, even my parents who live in Atlanta saw it because they follow WFAA living in Atlanta, Georgia. I came across a couple of questions that hit me, and I know that they probably hit others at the same time. And I know that there's HR issues that cannot be discussed. I do understand that part. And I also understand that there's generalized questions about those things that occurred here, okay? So when we go down that, was Chief on a PIP? Was he also reprimanded in any way, written or verbally, that can be attached to his file that is able to be FOIA'd if we need to in order to be able to get that information? I know, once again, I know we can't necessarily answer that question, but those are questions that I'm asking, so I know some others have those questions in mind also. If there was wrongdoing, are charges going to be placed? And where are those charges? What are those allegations that can be made public, correct? What if there was a pay raise, which I believe there was a pay raise, then he was fired? So how did that come about if there was no HR issues such as a PIP or write-ups or anything like that in his jacket to allow for the firing, right? And I know Texas is a right to hire, right to fire state. I understand that part too. But wrongful termination is a thing that we as business owners, so to speak, the city is a business, so if we look at it that way, are we opening ourselves up to litigation on that particular item, right? So my understanding also is when we look at it, we look at the budget, right? Were we over budget? Were we under budget? Did we meet the budget as we've gone the past couple of years with Lyle Lombard in charge of the DPS office, right? Were there things that came up that we need to address with him because we did not approve certain purchases or things like that that hinder the growth of the DPS? Because now, as it sits, we have an acting chief who is a police officer, and we have a fire chief currently, correct? As the way it sits, just by who's in charge of what right now, correct? I know that that's a hard question. I really can't answer that question. I'm just asking because.
Mr. Jackson, because this is not on the agenda, council cannot answer any of your questions.
Nope, that's fine. Okay, I'm making sure, I'm just, like I said, I know I'm asking these questions because those are the questions that are on my mind, and maybe some other people have those questions too, and I can't address them, see? So I'm paying attention to that part too, to make sure that we do that.
I can't allow time for one more statement,
if there is
we
an
do hold to
issue-
a 3-minute.
Sure, if there was an issue, that there's a police advisory committee that's in place already? And did anybody actually address that with them to see what was going on? Or offer other training or other maybe mediation type solutions to this issue? And if you didn't know, I'm on that police advisory commission for the city of Fate, but I've never been addressed by anybody from the city about any issues going on with the DPS office itself. So those are the things that I have on my mind. I just had some generalized questions. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next will be Charity Collinsworth, address 609 McKee Court, wishes to speak on an item not on the agenda about general comment.
Hi, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, and I will actually be speaking on the same matter that the gentleman just spoke a minute ago. So my comments are rooted on principles that matter to every city, every department, and every resident. They're regarding due process, accountability, and fairness. Over the past 7.5 years, the city of Fate has consistently been recognized as one of the safest cities in Texas. And that is not a coincidence. The level of sustained safety, trust, and community confidence only happens when a department is guided by stable, effective leadership. Under Chief Lombard's direction, the Department of Public Safety not only maintained extremely low crime rates, but also earned the confidence of the community, with 97% of residents reporting that they feel safe. 97%. Those are measurable outcomes, those are real indicators of success, and those are standards by which a leader's performance should be evaluated. Yet despite those outcomes, the chief was terminated without clear, substantiated, or verifiable reasons, according to statements that have already been made by the members of this council. When concerns are anonymous, unverified, or unable to be supported by evidence, they should not be used as grounds to remove the head of an entire public safety department. Firing a leader who has delivered consistent results, protected this community, and maintained public confidence demands a transparent and documented justification. If that justification exists, then it should be shared, which, as far as I'm aware, it has not been. If it does not, then this termination sets an extremely concerning precedent that a career and a department's stability can be disrupted without due process, without transparency, and without explanation. Regardless of anyone's personal opinion or affiliations, every resident in Fate, every city employee, and every public servant deserves a system where decisions, especially decisions of this magnitude, are based on facts, fairness, and accountability. At the end of the day, this is not just about one individual. It's about the integrity of our institutions. It's about ensuring that our processes are consistent, transparent, and worthy of public trust. When a department performs at one of the highest levels in the state, like they have with the leadership of Chief Lombard, the leadership should not change unless there is a concrete reason that can be proven to the public and presented. If the board cannot justify these actions to the public, then it's time for the citizens of Fate to elect new members that can effectively represent the members of Fate in its entirety. With what has happened, it's totalitarian and does not represent the women and families and men of this great community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Collinsworth.
Next will be Ross Prager, address 614 McKee Court, wishes to speak on an item not on the agenda. Topic is general comment.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to be speaking on the same subject as the rest of them. Good evening. My name's Ross. I'm here with my wife, Jess. We decided to move here about a year ago, and we have 2 kids, a 3-year-old and a newborn at home. So we're really happy to say that. I'm speaking tonight because the people of Fate deserve answers, and I care about the community, a community I plan on raising these children for the next 15 to 20 years. The termination of Chief without any documented cause, without public justification, without transparency, has obviously shaken up the community. It's all over the internet. It's now transparent and it's not how a transparent and accountable government behaves. Chief led a department that made Fate one of the safest cities in all of Texas. Without question, this is the reason our family chose to move here. I believe that at this time, Fate ranked like 6th or 7th when we decided to move here. Those are not numbers of a failing or mismanaged department. Those are the results of exceptional leadership and a department full of dedicated and driven individuals that are with that leadership. Yet the decision to remove Lyle was made behind closed doors, and due to this, to this day, the residents have been given no explanation. That alone should alarm most of the individuals in this room and the rest of the community. Another quick issue I need to cover is I don't have a lot of social media. I go online to post pictures of my kid when it's her birthday, but the amount of stuff I'm seeing on social media about this and just the berating, it's a bit ridiculous. So when I see public officials posting accusation statements, counter statements, political messaging on personal matters, it undermines the integrity of the city, it confuses residents, and it erodes trust. The public deserves professionalism. Right now, the lack of clarity has left us all questioning whether or not this was a lawful, legitimate decision or a politically motivated one tied to ongoing debates about the dismantling of the DPS. Even if there's no direct connection, the perception alone is damaging to the city. We deserve better, Lyle deserves better. So tonight, I'm not going to sit here and ask you questions, but I'm going to give you some recommendations. The first one is to be open with the public, release all legally permitted information about the decision, nothing anonymous, have independent party review how this termination occurred, and model professionalism by keeping internal discussions off of social media and handle them with professionalism and the correct channels. This community is not asking for special treatment for anyone, but we are demanding that Fate's government operate with integrity, accountability, and respect for the rule of the law. Chief Lombard's service record speaks for itself. The way this decision was handled speaks for itself as well. The people of Fate expect better. We will continue to show up until justice, transparency, and proper governance is restored. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Prager.
And last, we have William Marcus Chin, address 106 Comment Drive, wishes to speak on an item not on the agenda. The topic is the state of the city.
Thank y'all for letting me speak this evening. Didn't come up here with an ideal of what I was going to say, but I do want to look back at that man, Lyle Lombard, and I do want to say thank you. I'm sorry that this is happening to you, and it's unfortunate. But what I do, what's really on my heart, is about the state of this city and the state of this council. You all were put there not to bicker amongst each other, not to put each other on blast. Y'all supposed to be a team. All of you, my wife included. Sometimes you got to put the phone down, babe. Mr. Kovacs, got a tough position. I don't envy you. Keep up the good work. Mayor Greenberg, this is where it gets real. You got to pick a side. God dang it, you either gonna be over there or you're gonna be over here, but you gotta pick one. Stop playing both sides of the fence. Scott Kelly, no problems with you. Martha, Rick, y'all just got here. And I understand, I know better than most the people that put you in that position. Mr. Manival, with all due respect, grab a backbone. You don't have to follow Blind Hadley every time. Martha, you seem, Ms. Huffman, you seem like you have a great deal of common sense, and you're sensible, and I appreciate that. I say the best for last. Sir, there was no reason why you put that on social media, not just for this man's future, employment opportunities, things like that. There comes a time and place where everything doesn't go on social media. There comes a time and place where things that are in executive session stay in executive session. I don't know the reason Chief Lombard was let go. I don't. All I know is that's a great man back there, and it's unfortunate. You know why I don't know? Because I'm not supposed to know. And my wife is sitting right there on the city council with you. The fact that people have come in here and they're making comments about something that nobody in this room except the 7 people up there and selected city staff know that they're making comments is we got to do better. You have to be better. And I had a lot of vitriol when I first came up here, but this ain't the place for that. This is a call for all of you to come together, work together to make this a better city, to make this a better town. And if you can't do that, you might want to step down, because somebody that does want to make this a better place, make the city great, just might run against you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Chen.
I've received no other requests to address the council.
Okay, so what's our next item, please?
Item number 5, consent agenda.
All right, do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, please vote. Will it automatically update, or do I just need to?
If you could just give Omar a little grace,
okay.
he's running it in
Oh,
the
no,
system
that's
for the
okay.
first,
Some
for the
people
very
were looking at
first
me, and I didn't know what
time.
to do, so.
Yeah.
So everybody look at Omar.
Yeah.
Omar,
No,
you're
he
doing a
was,
great
he was
job.
gracious enough to help us out while our IT staff is healing from being sick.
All right, thank you. Motion passes 6-0. Okay, next item, please.
Okay. Next will be Agenda Item 6A. This is an application for approval of a zoning change request from agriculture to residential estate to allow for a new single-family home. First will be your staff summary, followed by applicant presentation. Third is public hearing, and then ultimately consider action on ordinance number O-2025-048.
Thank you.
This one's the wrong one. I apologize. This is the zoning request, correct? Vicky, this is the zoning request one, correct? Did I hear you correct? Yep, that's the right one.
Yes. Yes. Case ZR 25014.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council. My name is Robbie Highfield. I'm the senior planner for the City of Fate, and I'll be giving the staff presentation for the Yepez Edition zoning request, project ID ZR 25014. This is a straight zoning request from agriculture to residential estate. This property has never been zoned, so it defaults to our agriculture zoning district. The goal, the applicant stated, is to construct a single-family home. However, to do this, a plat is required, and due to correcting historical legal subdivision when this used to be in the county, which is a neighborhood-wide challenge on Northstar. Our RE zoning is being requested due to lot size constraints, given the lot's approximately 1.3 acres. The minimum acreage in agriculture is 5 acres, whereas residential estate is 1 to 5 acres. So this is a location at the southeast corner of Northstar and County Road 979. Again, zoned A, approximately 1.3 acres, and the lot is currently vacant. So approval criteria for a straight zoning request is A, does it meet the comprehensive plan and other adopted plans? Does it meet the character of the surrounding neighborhood and area? And are there any other Texas law or other factors such as case law to consider? So criterion A, this property is in the rural reserve place type. Rural reserve is defined as including a mix of land uses such as farming, ranching, other ag-related uses, as well as limited residential estate lots. And rural estate or residential estate is a representative zoning district, as well as having single-family dwellings on large lots. Criterion B doesn't meet the character of the surrounding area. Northstar is a neighborhood street with lots ranging in from 1.25 to 2.5 acres. So this is on the smaller side, but it is a representative lot size. Additional factors, 3 lots are currently zoned residential estate up on Northstar. The rest are agriculture, not because they were zoned agriculture, but because when it was annexed in, again, that is our default zoning. And this area can be defined as having those rural ag land and open space lots as well. So staff find that criterion A and B are met and criterion C is not applicable. As with all zoning cases, we're required to send public notice within 200 feet, which resulted in 9 notices being sent. And as of today, we received no responses either for or against. And given the small nature of this zoning case, just being a single lot, a fiscal analysis was not conducted. And the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation was to approve 6-0 with 1 vote absent. Can take any questions now, or I'm not sure. The applicant is here if you would like him to speak first.
Okay, thank you. Council, any questions? Okay, I think we're good.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Did you have a presentation you wanted to give, or just if we had any questions for you?
No, just came to, if you have any questions.
Okay, any questions for the applicant? Okay, so at this time, we'll open our public hearing at 6:36 PM. Okay.
I've received no request to address the council.
All right, so at this time, we will close the public hearing. And do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve case number ZR 25014.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, any further discussion?
Do I need to clarify that as
Ordinance
the ordinance number as opposed to, we're good? Okay.
Any other discussion? All right, please vote. The motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Next item, please.
Next is 6B. This is an application for a special sign permit for Wings Over Fate. First is staff summary, applicant presentation if needed, and then ultimately consider resolution number R 2025-094.
Perfect. Again, good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name's Robbie Highfield, Senior Planner for City of Fate. I'm giving the staff presentation for Wings Over Fate, special sign permit request. So, brief description. This request is for a sign for a dine-in restaurant. Special sign permit, while signs are typically just administratively approved through the planning department, reviewed and approved, when signs do not strictly meet the sign criteria laid out in Article 8 for their respective sign type, applicants are able to request a modification via a special sign permit, which requires City Council approval. In this case, Wings Over Fate is requesting a modification to subsection 2.8.6 regarding blade signs, specifically the size. Our standards allow for a maximum 8-foot square foot sign, and the applicant's request was for 40 square feet. So the location is on the hub building, Fate Station. And the approval criteria for a special sign permit is the requested sign creative or innovative, or does it have unusual architectural or artistic value, and will make a positive contribution to the visual environment. Because of an unusual characteristic of the land or the built environment, additional size or height is needed to provide visibility comparable to other similar properties and uses, or to authorize the use of an alternative material design standard or method of construction where the City Council finds the alternative is satisfactory and at least equivalent of that of the prescribed ordinance in strength, quality, effectiveness, durability, and safety. So in staff's review, we found that the sign is unique and creative in nature, and that in order for the applicant to meet their design, strict interpretation would be prohibitive. That being said, the request as proposed in staff's review seemed a bit excessive, given that special sign permits still need to adhere to the overall thematic aesthetic nature of their surroundings. And so as staff is proposing certain conditions to mitigate for these issues without having to outright recommend denial. So our recommendation is to approve with conditions, and those conditions are that the total sign face shall not exceed 30 square feet per side. Prior to issuance of a sign permit, full dimensional, technical, and structural plans shall be submitted for staff review and approval. The bottom of the sign shall not fall below the top of the structural awnings on the first floor, and the sign shall not directly impede any windows on the building. To give you an idea of what that means, on your screen, it didn't come through as I'd like, but there's a highlighted section of the building, and you should be able to see 2 red lines. The top line is that bottom of the window. That's the condition regarding not impeding the window. Cannot extend into that line. And then below is the approximate location of the top of the structural awning. So that 30 square feet that staff's recommending condition being, the sign would have to fit within that highlighted area, essentially. And I was unable to superimpose it, but it's one of those first 2 columns that the sign is proposed on. I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, but I believe it's this one right here. So that's it for staff. I know the applicant's here if you want to hear from him, or I can take questions now.
Any questions from council?
I saw the 40 square foot sign is 4 by 10.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a suggested? I know we could work it out, but how tall would it be to be 30 square feet?
30 would be the max, so probably a 4 by
4 by 8 is 32.
I'm a planner, not a mather. What? 4 by 7 would be 28. And then they could shrink it up if they want to go longer, as long as it's falling within that area. We really don't care, as long as it's meeting that 30 foot.
I have a question.
Ms. Huffman?
I guess the other businesses in the area can't weigh in on whether or not they like this sign, but it's a departure from what did other businesses that are in that area propose anything different than what our standard is? I'd hate to look like we're all of a sudden saying, oh, sure, you can do something completely different.
Yeah, no other businesses that have wall signs had decided to go through the special sign permit. Make them all aware when they are applying for signs that, hey, if you're not gonna, if this sign doesn't meet criteria, this is an option, or you just revise it, get it done through staff. In this case, the applicant chose to take the design to council rather than just do everything internally.
Okay. And do we know if this is consistent with their standard? If they have other locations, are they trying to be consistent with their other signage?
I've seen some pictures, but that's probably a question you want to direct to the applicant.
I have a question for Matt. Did we do, and maybe for Robbie too, did we do one for the hub?
Yeah.
Is that a special?
We did. So if you want to look at both the brand-new buildings that are facing south right there, so this is this is on the east side, the other one's the park on the west side. That building has tenants on the first floor. They've all utilized flat, wall signage. But in this particular building, there is another blade sign just like this. So the hub at Fate Station did install a similar sign on the other side of the building. So now they're not a first floor tenant. It's a third floor tenant, of course, office tenant. But those are the only, those are the only blade signs. The other sign on this building would be all the way on the on the second floor for the second floor office tenant. So the dental surgeon that's up there has a sign up there. So this would be the third sign on this building. This is about 4,700 square feet. There's another roughly 3,000 remaining on the first floor. And it's not on the end of the building, so they'd probably have to go without a blade sign. Just probably wouldn't make sense there. But so there is a variety of sign types in this on these new buildings, but when you want to look at all of Main Street, some of the older buildings there, we have a wide range of blade, wall, backlit, frontlit signs. There's, actually, it's the area of Fate that has the most differentiated type sign styles, if that helps.
Can you go back to the picture that shows the full building where we can actually see the hub? Yeah, so I guess that, and kind of, Matt, it sounded like you were answering that question. I just want to make sure that as more of this space fills up, it doesn't just end up looking like a hodgepodge of signs, unless that's what we're going for, if that's the aesthetic. And again, I have no way of looking at it in terms of, I'm not against the sign inherently by any means. I just want to make sure it's not that, we're going to end up putting so many different things on there, it kind of takes away. I know that one of the things, one of the conditions was make a positive contribution to the visual environment. Are we not worried that if we don't have a kind of a uniform way of making signs to our buildings, it will end up looking non-uniform?
Yeah, so were you directing that at Matt,
anybody, I'm just.
Okay, yeah, so we have our standard Article 8 criteria. And the unique case here is that they're going above what our adopted standards are. Any of these tenants could come in and say, hey, I want a blade sign, it's gonna be 8 square feet. They would be able to do that administratively because there's not a master sign plan for this type of building. So we don't necessarily, it's our current direction that we don't necessarily want to get too in the weeds of designing people's signs for them. We sort of want to leave that up to interpretation. But something like that would have to be addressed in a sign update, Article 8 update, something like that.
Okay, perfect. That answers my question. Thank you. Mr. Kelly.
What's the, and this is just, I'm trying to put it in perspective from this shot, looking at the hub sign. It looks like the hub sign would meet this criteria that's being proposed in terms of not going below the awning or above the second floor window. What is that distance between the awning and the second floor window that they've got to? And I'm just trying to put into perspective, is that 8 foot to make it an 8 foot by 3.5 foot sign? I'm just trying to.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is to scale. If they're saying 10 feet, Matt, do you know if it?
It's close, it's close to 10 feet.
Okay.
So one thing I'll point out is that this image may not be 100% to scale.
Right.
So it's a very basic image that's reflecting this here. So move the sign down a little bit. Ty just mentioned to me, I can just move the sign down. And if you've got to shorten it up a little bit to make it fit in there, I don't think a whole lot of modifications are necessary to meet the recommendations. It has to size down. It's 10 by 40, so it's 40 square feet. And to meet the recommendation, it would have to go down to 30. So it would have to shrink a little bit, but getting it between that window and the awning is not a challenge. I don't remember how tall the hub at Fate Station sign is, but it is very similar. And so if you're reflecting another sign on the other end, it would be this one.
Matt, I'm just pulling up the old permit. 10 feet 7 inches was the tip of was the full height of the hub station.
There you go.
But it's only 2 feet 3 inches wide.
Right. So with that information, you make it a little skinnier and scoot it down and it fits.
Okay, thank you.
With that criteria, of course.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Does the applicant wish to speak? Okay. Hi, welcome.
Hi, good evening. Yep. My name is Ty. I live here in Rockwall. I own Wings Over USA, and Wings Over Fate will be my 11th location. And it's a 4,500 square feet. It's probably one of the biggest location that we have. Majority of our location is 3,000, 3,500 square feet. This is 4,500 square feet. We use this one as our headquarters. So this is where we're going to use for training, and all the office work and everything is on this one. And as you can see, I mean, this is downtown. So downtown, I imagine that there will be a lot of foot traffic. There's a lot of slow car driving. So I think the blade sign would definitely perfect for visibility, and it's more cohesive with the downtown. So that's why I believe this sign will make the business look more visibility for, because if you look at the building, our building is all the way on the back, and it's gonna be hard for traffic on the street to be able to see us. So that's why I specifically designed that one. It's definitely designed that one for this building, because it's definitely, it's both side on both traffic and the park right down next to it, and I think with the blade size, definitely way better visibility. So I hope we can approve it, because it's definitely look good for downtown cohesive in terms of image.
Yeah, thank you. Questions from council?
Just a comment. I just wanted to say, I think that it's, a good idea to give you what you're asking for. As a business owner, you want to make sure that you do have visibility, and you are right. It is going to be on the back side, and we want people to know that y'all are there, and we want to be able to support our small businesses. So I'm definitely in favor of approving this for you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve R 2025-094.
I'll second.
And just to clarify, y'all approving it with the conditions recommended by staff?
Recommended approval with conditions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and I did have a second. Okay, any further discussion? All right, please vote. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Ms. Vicky, next item, please.
Next will be, excuse me, 6C. This is a proposed UDO amendment updating Planning and Zoning Commission attendance policy. First is staff presentation, and then you will consider ordinance number O 2025-049.
Okay.
And there's no math, so I should be able to answer your questions. Good evening, Mayor, Council, Robbie Highfield, Senior Planner for City of Fate. This one's pretty brief, so we just have this slide. It's updating the language for the Planning and Zoning Commission, how they can be removed, and what their attendance, updating the attendance policy. Pretty much just leave it at that. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Any questions from council? Mr. Manival?
There's a penalty clause in the ordinance. Calls for fines or, fine not to exceed the sum of $2,000. I guess I anticipate when we ask for clarification on this that we might, call for people to be removed. I just wonder, was financial fine, financial punishment really what we were
Councilmember
expecting?
Manival,
Yeah.
so this is part of the UDO, and all of the UDO has a penalty provision in it.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that, you're correct that
Okay.
I've never seen the city use a
Okay.
penalty provision,
Well,
but
I knew this
yeah.
came out of us recently removing someone, and
Yes.
it was pretty straightforward, lots of absences, and I couldn't imagine, I thought we were kind of doing her a favor at the time. I can't imagine sending her.
Yes, sir. No, so.
No bill. No?
Yes.
Okay.
No, so you're correct, that would
Okay,
That would
good.
most likely never be used, but
Okay,
it.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, good question, Mr. Manival. Any other questions, council? Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the proposed recommended changes to the UDO.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any further discussion on the agenda item? All right, please vote. All right, motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Next item, please.
Next will be Agenda Item 6D, discuss, consider, and take any necessary action regarding Highway 66 and Crawford intersection.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'll have a presentation here in a second. This is a follow-up from our discussion September 15th that we had regarding the intersection 66 in Crawford. We've followed up on the couple things that you've asked. We wanted to report on that and get further direction from y'all. I will skip over some of these. I'll click through them, of course, so that the public can go back and pause the YouTube stream and see the slides. I won't go through each of those. In short, we've been talking about this for 5 or 6 years. And obviously, it's a difficult decision, and there's a lot of different moving parts, which is why this has been challenging to kind of make a decision as to how we proceed. And again, we're following up from the 15th of September, which was our last discussion. I just wanted to emphasize for y'all, we recognize this spot that the council's in relates to this of balancing safety as well as access and traffic. We recognize there's a lot here, and any leanings one way or the other isn't a suggestion of either of you that you're not worried about safety or you're not worried about traffic. It's just a challenging intersection that we recognize needs some improvement. So staff has been great. Steve, Scott, and their teams have done a couple things already quickly, just to say, regardless of any decision, what can we do to make it better now? And you'll see some tree trimming that's been done. Steve worked with the landowner here to remove some of those trees to open up visibility, which we believe has, not saying it solved the problem by any means, but it's helped be able to see kind of what's coming around the turn. Scott worked with TxDOT to add this additional signage, noting people as they're coming north on Crawford that cross traffic does not stop. So again, some quick improvements that our staff was quick to jump on. I appreciate Steve and Scott and their teams taking care of these. There are some additional things that we're looking at. Scott is working with TxDOT currently on some specs for southbound traffic coming down 66 to add the flashing beacon sign on the curve that would alert people of that curve that's coming. We priced that at about $15,000 for the full makeup and solar light, as you will. Scott's working on specs. Again, something that we feel like we can do sooner rather than later. Regardless of the outcome, we know that curve is still something we want people to be aware of. We also have a speed study going on for a potential speed reduction along this section of 66. Given how speed studies work with TxDOT and them looking at the 85th percentile of how people drive, what speed that is, I think I can say that we're not optimistic it's going to result in a speed reduction as far as the study goes, just given that people are traveling at those speeds. So those are things that are currently going on right now, regardless of any of the outcomes of what we decide tonight. We want to do what we can to make it safer today. That sign with TxDOT, I think once we get the specs from TxDOT, could be done in a matter of weeks or month or so. Scott, would you say? Yeah, so we'll do that as quick as we can. We're not years out or months out potentially of getting that done. One of the things that we were asked to do was to talk with Royce City and talk to them about how anything here would impact their bus schedule for the children. Y'all made it very clear that you are very sensitive to the times that these kids are getting home and getting to school and how early they have to get up. So we did work with Royce City. We asked them how this might impact. He ran some scenarios as to what the routes would look like. They did not see any major concerns as far as significant delays. If we were to close that, they would likely, instead of crossing down there, they would run them around CD Boren across Fate, Maine. It would add a couple minutes, nothing significant. The only request from him was they really, as much as they possibly can, try to avoid bus route schedule changes until the summer because families kind of start to structure their around each school year. So that was his only request, but he is absolutely willing to play ball, if you will, with whatever we feel is the best direction to go. We did have then discussions with TxDOT. We'll show you the image. Well, I'll show you the image first, then I'll go back. What we looked at is a few different images Kimley Horn helped put together. We have run all these by TxDOT. They were fine with all of them. The one that we believe meets what we're looking to do is the option 1 at the top, which puts some kind of median protection down to limit that left turn, and then has an additional median you'll see coming off of Crawford to eliminate the right turn coming off of 66. So that, again, restricts those movements to only southbound or northbound coming Crawford, continuing straight up 66. back to the discussions with TxDOT, we had talked about potentially like some jersey barriers or beams. They don't allow that as a permanent fixture. Those are used sometimes in temporary construction scenarios, but they have specs. A median would be at least 4 feet wide and raised. That would be good. That would be what you'd see going down the middle of the road. And I'll go back to that picture, but adding that median would require an additional 2 to 5 feet of additional pavement on the Family Dollar side to meet TxDOT. Again, you see some additional light blue, additional 2 to 5 feet of pavement going around there. So we ran those by TxDOT. Again, any of these scenarios has their blessing to proceed. There's some additional conversations we've been having internally with our Development Review Committee, who looks at a lot of different things. This includes our Department of Public Safety. So their discussion was around specifically kind of timing and when and if would we want to do this, if that was the will of the council. A couple things. One is there is at some point, and while we don't have a date, which does make this challenging, a traffic signal at 66th and Fate Main. That's on TxDOT's radar. They have not pulled the trigger or suggested when they're going to do that. Currently, stop signs set up causes some issues. We do, of course, with all that, we worry about what, and we can do some additional studies. I think I talked about that in a later slide. If we were to say, let's proceed a certain way in the summer, in the meantime, we can do studies to determine what that queuing starts to look like on Fate Main. How far back up 66 will that go? Now that nobody's going southbound on Crawford, everybody going to Fate Main. We know how long our turn pocket is now. So in the meantime, we could do some additional study to determine, again, how long does that queue get and does it start to impede any of our traffic during kind of the rush hour, everybody leaving and heading to the freeway, for example. So there's the timing of a traffic signal there. There's the interchange at Ben Payne and I-30. Currently, 551 is the only freeway interchange into Fate. But in 2 years from now, there will be a second interchange, and we believe that may alleviate some of the pressure off 551, which, again, will impact traffic patterns. We don't know exactly how, but we anticipate, obviously, a lot of our residents utilizing that interchange, as it will be the first one they come up on coming out of Dallas. And then second, our master thoroughfare plan calls for potential connection of Ben Payne all the way to 552. So if people are to utilize that exit, they can take it all the way north, essentially past what we would consider a developed part of Fate. So that is on our thoroughfare plan. Future development may construct that for us. We know that will change some traffic patterns as it relates to 551 and Crawford. It allows, of course, the drivers to head north. So as we talked internally about what the impact, I think there was some thoughts on what is the timing? Would this be, would or wouldn't it be? We don't know for sure. As far as making this before some of these other improvements are made, which will start to alleviate some of the traffic on 551. There is some concern if we push everybody to the four-way stop without any additional kind of outlets, any other ways into Fate, what could that do? We talked about the summer. I mentioned that I was going to talk about this later. We could model the impact on the four-way stop. Our fire marshal did talk about, as our park is developed, the benefit of that one-way on Crawford as we're finishing some of those larger events downtown. You don't have people trying to turn and go both ways on Crawford, coming out of the park, coming out of the parking lot. So potentially that one-way just going north on Crawford has better flow as you're ending an event, for example, on a Friday night, versus, again, people coming out of the parking lot and trying to turn southbound on Crawford and crossing each other. So our fire marshal did see significant improvements to traffic flow coming out of downtown. As I mentioned already, TxDOT has no objections to that. One other consideration that we just, again, not saying that of all of the things that you're weighing, one is more important than the other, but we did just want to make you, of course, aware of what we haven't done is we haven't talked to the businesses about what they feel like this would do as far as not just access to their businesses, as it would take away one of those accesses. There are others, but the visibility as their signage isn't, of course, just to say, here's, for those that are coming to this certain business right now, here's our signage. They also use it as marketing for all of the people that drive by it every day and see that sign and without access to Crawford, the number of people driving by their signs every day would change. And again, I'm not suggesting that that means we have to go a certain direction. Just wanted to make you aware, we haven't really engaged in a conversation with the business owners on this proposal, but that is something that we, of course, are always, through all decisions we make as a city, we're always thinking about our small businesses and how it might impact them. There would be, of course, if we were doing this improvement later, for example, next summer, we'd have an opportunity to talk with them and hear from them. Back to that preferred option, we did have some quick estimates run by Kimley Horn, approximately $325,000. Our staff's done a great job managing some of our road bond projects. We're just finishing up Gettysburg, just kind of finished it up. There is some leftover bond money that would be available if we were to do this, to the tune of about $325,000 for those improvements, which does include engineering, design, construction, a contingency, and such. So possible next steps, this is not by any means an exhaustive list of what next steps could be. What we could is determine a concept that we would like to proceed forward with next summer. If that's your desire, we don't have to wait till then, but following the Royce City School District request. And during that time, we could do additional studies and meeting with the downtown to kind of talk through, again, the study on the queuing and what the impact is on the four-way stop, meetings with the downtown to help them understand where we're coming from as far as the safety goes, and other things we're considering. So that's a possible next step. We also have the next step or a possible next step of, let's see when a second freeway interchange opens. We potentially have a design we know we want to go forward with, but let's see how some of the traffic patterns change when another freeway interchange is constructed and potentially gives people different ways in and out of Fate and how those traffic numbers are impacted. So I give you all that information, recognizing, again, there's a lot of things to consider here. I don't envy that as far as safety, as well as businesses, as well as access and traffic and all of that. But here for any questions, of course, and any thoughts and discussion that y'all want to have.
Questions? Ms. Huffman?
On one of the slides, you mentioned a surplus from bond money already, and it said 325?
325,000 would be the estimated cost of the project.
Right.
Sorry, but more than that of bond funds are available.
Oh, okay. So there's
Yeah.
in excess of
Some of our
that.
projects came in under budget.
Okay.
And so we have access to some funding.
Right, we've got about $1.5 million in the budget that we were looking at, either to do a downtown street, or we've even talked about maybe pulling that for Ben Payne, for South Ben Payne. We have the revenue share that we did, or an agreement for the Gettysburg construction. And so we've got essentially a split on the leftover funds from that. So we've got a little bit there. So it's not exactly free, it's not exactly freed up money, because it would impact downtown potentially a little bit, or it could impact South Bend Payne. So it's not necessarily 325 that's completely free, but there is about $1.5 million total that we could divert.
Yeah, thank you for that clarification. Always an opportunity cost when you spend it on one thing versus another.
Ms. Chen?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I think it's fair to wait until the summer when, the bus schedule is not an issue. I understand not wanting to switch that as a mom with kids that ride on the bus. That is very confusing, and they have to send out a bunch of emails, and, people don't always check those emails. So I think that that's a fair thing that we wait. I am interested to see how it is going to impact the traffic once we do that. So I think doing a study on that is smart. So those are my thoughts.
Mr. Hatley?
Stephen, can you send us a copy of this presentation?
Yeah, absolutely.
On there so we can study it later?
Yep.
So if we waited anyway until summer, we could use some of that time to talk to the businesses and ask kind of what they think. I'd be curious to see that too. But I guess I would look at it too and say, is that just if I'm a business, I'd probably say, well, I don't want any access potentially taken away, but will we have any more than just their thoughts? Is there a way to determine if that would actually limit access to downtown, or people would deliberately not be going? Do we have a way to see that? Even like best guesses and estimates?
For sure. I don't, what we do know now, and we could run the numbers, in fact, we kind of have those, I think, is how many people drive by their business. So they're gonna potentially say, well, I now have X number of cars that saw my sign before because they're making that drive down Crawford. Now, I mean, unless they're kind of looking over their left shoulder as they're going 66 or not, we could get that. As far as the access to, yeah, I don't want to say no, because there probably is always a way. I just am not thinking of what that could be, but it's something we could definitely consider.
Okay, I'd be curious to see, just because I know like when traffic, I mean, especially in the city of Rockwall, traffic along 30 and businesses, I mean, it's a very real thing. People say, well, now people aren't coming into my shop or my restaurant because, not that they can't get there, but it takes longer to get there. And so I'd want to make sure we could kind of understand and see what that would do, what that would look like too. But if we're going to wait until summer anyway on this, I think that gives us plenty of time to look at that. Other thoughts, comments? Mr. Kelly?
Yeah, the only, I obviously was the one that put this on the agenda, so I actually put it on the agenda when I was on P&Z back in 2020. So it's been on my radar for a while just because, well, I haven't seen many significant incidents there. The incidents there that happen are significant, but the other piece is the number of near misses that happen there, and that happens on a regular basis every day. I appreciate all the research that you guys put into it. I do have concerns about what happens at that stop sign at Fate Main, and want to have an understanding of that. But that being said, I also recognize that the majority of the cars that are going through there at rush hour are also not Fate residents. They're driving through from Josephine or Nevada or other communities, and that's just their quickest route to 30. So it's just become a bypass for a lot of traffic just to get to the interstate as quickly as possible. With the county commissioners not doing much to address 66 and the expansion of 66 that was approved in the 2008 bond, I believe, 66 just isn't on a radar right now. So it's going to be a while before there's an opportunity to permanently fix this. But it will be permanently fixed at some point because 66 has to be expanded. So I would probably encourage a less permanent fix initially. Maybe not spending all the money to widen the road and put up barriers if it's something that we try out and realize it just creates a horrific situation at that stop sign. If there's just a way we can place a temporary barricade or to something that would not barrels, but something that would actually prevent vehicles from using it, and just trying out and see how that works. And if it creates that horrific situation, if we do it in the summer traffic's significantly lighter than it is during school. So we would have some build-up time to it, but we would also have an idea what happens when school starts and what that looks like. So I do want to see something done. Unfortunately, there's just not a good answer. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Ms. Chen?
Yeah. To Andrew's point about the small businesses and visibility, is there a way that we can add additional signage for those businesses on the backside, like a freestanding something? I know, Matt, didn't we talk about doing a billboard or extra? I know we gave you a lot of extra money during the budget season to improve the visibility for the businesses downtown. Is that something that we could possibly do?
The city could advertise downtown as a whole, downtown businesses, encourage people to visit there. I have looked at this myself, and because these are like basically zero lot buildings, right? They're surrounded by city right-of-way. There is no, Ty here was here tonight, he asked me, is there any way we can put a monument sign in the flower beds, right? It's simply not possible with our code because it would, and I talked to Ryan Wells about this as well. So that is not an option. Alternative signage for them. The image that Stephen showed on that slide is one that I created. So as you can imagine, it's something that I was thinking about. And Mr. Kelly, I drive that every single day, and it was one of the first things I said. I commute here every single day. I drive through that. I probably drive through that intersection more than anybody else in this city because I'm going downtown to my two offices back and forth all the time. So I see it. And if we could put up a billboard sign that says, "Don't drive like a moron,"
That might work.
I'm not sure it would help, unfortunately, but, so I'm frustrated with it too, believe me. So I understand the safety concern, but I also understand that with these small business owners and, Ty's investing thousands of dollars in a sign that y'all just approved for him tonight, and if I tell him, hey, the traffic that you are pointing that sign towards will not be around 3 months after you open your business, I don't need to poll them to know what the answer is going to be. The property owners, the business owners, they're going to be frustrated by it 100%. So it's not an easy answer for you. If there was a temporary, to quote Jurassic Park, traffic is like water, it'll find a way, right? So can people still get to those businesses downtown? Yes, but will those eyeballs still see the signs? No, because we're eliminating that. So the traffic data, there's about 7,000 cars per day that cross that rail crossing one way or the other, and roughly 50% of that is the southbound traffic. So we do know, based upon Placer AI data, which uses cell phone data, anonymous cell phone data, that roughly 3,500 eyeballs will no longer see the buildings, the signage, and those businesses down there on a daily basis. So I know I can count that, just like that. Could we, if there is a temporary block in place to find out what that traffic will do, could we advertise downtown to help prop up those small businesses? We certainly could. There is money, you're absolutely right, there's money in the budget to do that type of stuff. Whether or not those small businesses like that solution, different question. So, hope that helps.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments from council?
I do have just to make takeaways. I think there's some consensus on kind of the studying that four-way stop and what that queuing looks like. I think there's some consensus there. Figuring out kind of, again, greater determination of what the business impact would look like in those conversations. And then potentially exploring what kind of temporary options we could do to see before we invest, near upwards of $500,000, do that. Okay, those are things we can do. And then again, Scott's looking at TxDOT for the specs on what that flashing beacon sign could look like, so he can explore Matt's idea of the signage and see if that's appropriate on the specs, the morons thing. That was a joke. That won't be on the sign. It'll be about the curve. Okay, bad, that one didn't go over well, sorry. And now I'm thrown off. I was expecting a little laugh, and then I had time to regather my thoughts. But we appreciate that. I will keep posted as the sign as we get information back from TxDOT, and then we will proceed with those takeaways. We will shoot for nothing sooner than summer, which buys us time to do this as well. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, next item, please.
Next is agenda item 7, which is mayor, council, and city manager reports.
All right, Ms. Chin, we'll start with you.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who came out and made public comments tonight. There's been a lot of comments, online as well. I just want everyone to know that I have read them all. I hear everyone, and I agree. Transparency is needed. The citizens have a right to know what happened and why. And I am eager for that information to get out to the public because I think it's important that we restore public trust after something like this. So I agree.
Council, mayor and council, I do want to remind everybody that this mayor, council, and city manager reports are very limited by the Open Meetings Act to specific announcements. And so I just want to remind council of that.
Sure. And also I wanted to say congratulations to Raju and Teresa for once again representing the City of Fate honorably and their Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. So you guys are awesome. Y'all do a great job. And that's all I got.
Okay, Mr. Kelly.
Raju, Teresa, again, congratulations. It seems like every time you got the opportunity to get an accolade and recognition from somewhere, you get it. It's a pretty impressive feat, and I might, if you taught lessons in that, I might sign up for it. So congratulations. I look forward to seeing everybody Friday night at the tree lighting. It's a fantastic event. And then Saturday downtown, it sounds like it's an all-day affair almost with the market and the Christmas stuff down there. And Santa's going to be around a lot, I think. Definitely been an interesting couple of weeks, and I think it's an opportunity to revisit how we engage with each other as a community, and I would encourage anybody that's got questions to reach out directly to anybody on council, myself included, to just ask questions, share concerns, whatever. Unfortunately, social media is great for sharing opinions, but not always the great listening platform and the best engagement platform. So I would encourage anybody that's got questions, concerns about anything, whether it's the most recent topic or anything else we've got going on, please feel free to reach out to myself or any of us, and we'd love to have conversations to the limits that we're allowed to have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Mr. Manival.
I guess I just wanted to reiterate what I said last time. Just congratulations to the DPS department on those survey results that were incredible. I think I looked back and I believe that our citizens rated us 92%. I've heard that quoted as 97. I don't know, does anyone have it?
One of the specific metrics was safe in the neighborhood.
Safe in the neighborhood, okay, that was 97, okay. All right, the overall I think was, the whole DPS was a 92, but fantastic, and I just want to thank the DPS and their leadership over the past year for allowing them to accomplish that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Manival. Mr. Hatley.
I wanted to hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I wanted to congratulate Raju and Teresa again for doing a great job. Also, I'd like to thank everybody who spoke at on the topics. It's good to have people who come up and speak their mind, no matter what that opinion is. It's important to come up and speak, but hopefully everybody's also able to make it to the tree lighting. I think it's going to be a fun event. So, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Huffman.
Is it appropriate to apologize for being late? Because I apologize for being late, but it spawns me to remind everyone to be careful out on the roads because, once again, there was an accident on the bridge. So that would help us all out if people are careful there. Congratulations to the Finance Department. You guys are always getting awards, and it's really fun to see. I guess it's time for us to wish everybody a happy holidays because we won't have another meeting. And I, too, appreciate the public comments. That's our right to come up and make comments, and we are listening. And I also welcome direct contact from anybody who has questions or wants to, find out more about the council or what we're considering. So I look forward to being at the tree lighting on Friday, and that should be another fun time in the city of Fate. And that is my update.
All right, thank you, Ms. Huffman. So yes, Raju and Teresa, congratulations. That's well done. That's awesome. City Hall looks great. So I don't know who exactly was responsible for putting up all the decorations and putting that big tree up there, but it's been nice to look at in these meetings now rather than just being a blank lobby most of the time. So that's very festive. And I would just like to say, I think that the city staff as a whole does such a great job that I would like to just say, you know what, let's not have any more meetings that take you away from your family for the rest of the year. So I'm going to do that for you guys the rest of the year. So thank you very much for that.
Parks Board, P&Z, are we talking about all of those?
Just city council. Thanks for calling me out on my joke, Stephen. We'll talk about that later. All right, Mr. Kovacs.
Yes, sir. Speaking of meetings, tomorrow here at 6 p.m. the Parks Board will meet. So we have a Parks Board meeting. Then a couple of you are Emergency Service Corporation folks. So the Emergency Service, the guys that are right there. Those y'all, Emergency Service Corporation Wednesday at the Historic Courthouse, 5 p.m. And then Thursday, the 18th of December, we have P&Z at 6 p.m. And then, of course, we've got the downtown event Saturday, 10 a.m., and then the tree lighting has been mentioned, 6 p.m. And we are still running buses, right? We're still running buses for the, yep, excellent. So we'll have transit again for a day in the city of Fate. And I think those will start around 5 or so. So we will have that. Then, of course, Merry Christmas to everyone.
Okay, thank you. Next item, please.
Next is Agenda Item 8, Adjournment.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
A motion we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, you may vote. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Was that an error? Okay. Okay, it was 6-0. Okay, perfect.
Martha, were you wanting